Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Europe's Russian gas era comes to an end as Ukraine transit stops. Israel intercepts 2 projectiles fired from central Gaza in the first minutes of the new year. South Korea completes identification of all 179 victims of Jeju airplane crash. India's One Nation, One Subscription scheme comes into effect. Nearly 18 million students and academicians get access to scholarly research articles from today. World welcomes year 2025 with celebrations and fireworks. India celebrates the occasion with mix of cultural traditions and modern festivities. Russian gas supplies to Europe via Ukraine stopped at 12 midnight on New Year when a 5-year deal between Ukraine's gas transit operator Naftogaz and Russia's Gazprom expired. Ukraine has been allowing Russia to pipe gas to Europe via its territory under a 5-year deal signed in 2019. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has recently ruled out extending it as Russia-Ukraine conflict approaches the end of third year. The halt in Russian gas transit through Ukraine will see countries dip deeper into their reserves and seek to import more liquefied natural gas. Most other Russian gas routes to Europe are shut, including Yamal Europe via Belarus and Nord Stream under the Baltic that was blown up in 2022. The only other operational Russian gas pipeline routes to Europe are the Blue Stream and Turk Stream to Turkey under the Black Sea. Russian gas accounted for less than 10% of the European Union's gas imports in 2023, but some EU members still depend largely on Russian gas for geographical and political reasons. EU and NATO members Hungary and Slovakia have maintained close ties with Kremlin despite the conflict. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky on Tuesday vowed that his country would use 2025 to fight for an end to the 3-year-long conflict with Russia by any means necessary. In a late-night address, the Ukrainian president said that no one would give peace to his country as a gift, but he believed the United States would stand alongside Kiev as it fights to stop the 34-month-long conflict.
Dear Ukrainians, may 2025 be our year, the year of Ukraine. We know that peace will not be given to us as a gift, but we will do everything to stop Russia and end the war. This is what each of us wishes for. Ukraine is not alone. We have our friends with us. Since the first minutes of this war, America has stood with Ukraine. I believe that America will also stand with Ukraine in the first minutes of peace.
Updates on Israel-Hamas conflict now. On Wednesday, in the first minutes of the new year, 2 projectiles were fired from Gaza. Israel's military said one of which was intercepted while the other landed in an open area. Alert sirens sounded around midnight in the western Negev. The military said it has intercepted several rockets fired from northern Gaza in recent days. Since October, Israeli operations in Gaza have focused on the north, with officials saying the land and air offensive aims to prevent Hamas from regrouping. The Israel Defense Forces has confirmed the killing of Hamas's Nukba platoon commander Abd al-Hadi Sabah in a recent drone strike. According to the IDF, Sabah was eliminated in the Khan Yunis area of southern Gaza. The IDF in a statement said that Sabah had led the attack on kibbutz near Oz during the October 7, 2023 massacre. The IDF further stated that Sabah also led and advanced numerous terrorist attacks against IDF troops throughout the current war. Earlier, the IDF reported that its units working with Israel's General Security Service Shin Bet eliminated 14 Hamas terrorists, 6 of whom had participated in the October 7 massacre. As the investigation continues into the specific cause of the Jeju airplane crash, authorities on Wednesday announced that all 179 of those died have been identified. The Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters confirmed the identities of the last 5 victims who had not been previously identified. Country's acting president Choi San-mok at a disaster response meeting this morning said this process had finally been completed and that more bodies had been handed over to relatives so that they could hold funerals. Victims' families will for the first time be taken to the site to pay their respects later in the day.
Identification of all 179 victims were completed overnight. The bodies of victims were transferred to their family members and funeral services have started after the bodies of victims arrived at funeral halls. Currently, South Korea's investigators along with the US National Transportation Safety Board and manufacturer are conducting a joint investigation of the cause of the accident. The cause of the accident will be revealed by comprehensively analyzing and reviewing detailed investigations of the aircraft, fuselage and black box.
사고 원인이 밝혀질 것입니다.
Meanwhile, investigators probing the Jeju air crash have extracted the initial data from one of the Boeing 737-800's black boxes. According to the Deputy Minister for Civil Aviation, Ju Jong-wan, the initial extraction has already been completed for the cockpit voice recorder and experts are still determining the method to extract data from the second black box, the flight data recorder. South Korea's Transport Ministry said it will be sending the flight data recorder of the plane to the United States for analysis. South Korean investigators on Wednesday said they would execute an arrest warrant for Yoon Suk-yeol over his declaration of martial law by the deadline on January 6 as the impeached leader's supporters rallied outside his residence. Supporters and opponents of Yoon, who was suspended from office by lawmakers over his attempt to subvert civilian rule last month, have been camped outside the compound where he's been holed up for weeks, fending off investigators' efforts to question him. The Corruption Investigation Office requested the warrant after Yoon failed to report for questioning a third time, but it has been unclear whether they could execute it as the Presidential Security Service have previously refused to comply with search warrants. CIO Chief Oh Dong-woon said Wednesday the warrant could be executed within the deadline, which is on Monday, January 6. He also warned that anyone trying to block authorities from arresting Yoon could themselves face prosecution. Yoon's powers have been suspended since the opposition-controlled National Assembly voted to impeach him on December 14. The Constitutional Court is to determine whether to dismiss Yoon as president or reinstate him. The internet sites of several French cities and at least one department were inaccessible. The attacks were claimed on X by a hackers group calling themselves No Name, a collective already known for other attacks and for defending Russian points of view. The mayor of Nice confirmed on X that the city's website had been targeted. According to cyber experts, the goal appears to be propaganda by creating an impression of a climate of digital insecurity. Later, Paris prosecutors opened an investigation into the matter, saying the total of 23 sites were targeted. A major power outage plunged much of Puerto Rico into darkness on New Year's Eve after a grid failure left nearly all of the island without power. According to a statement from energy distribution company Luma Energy, around 90% of 1.47 million clients across the island were left in the dark. Luma said that it will likely take 24 to 48 hours to turn the lights back on. It added that preliminary findings pointed to a fault in an underground cable as the cause of an outage, although the situation remained under investigation. Puerto Rico has long dealt with chronic power outages as its infrastructure crumbles. It was hit hard by Hurricane Maria, a Category 4 storm in 2017. Zimbabwe officially abolished the death penalty Tuesday after President Emerson Mnangagwa signed into a law an act that will commute to jail time the sentences of about 60 prisoners on death row. The Death Penalty Abolition Act, published in Government Gazette on Tuesday, says courts can no longer deliver a sentence of capital punishment for any offence, and any existing death sentences would need to be commuted to jail time. However, one provision says the suspension of the death penalty may be lifted during a state of emergency. There has been a moratorium on executions in the southern African country since 2005, although courts have continued to hand down death sentence for crimes including murder, treason and terrorism. 24 countries across sub-Saharan Africa have abolished the death penalty for all crimes, while 2 additional countries have abolished it for ordinary crimes only. US President-elect Donald Trump said Tuesday he plans to attend the state funeral of former President Jimmy Carter, who died Sunday, aged 100. Trump shared his intentions with reporters during New Year's Eve celebrations at his Mar-a-Lago residence in Florida. State funeral plans for Carter will conclude January 9 at Washington National Cathedral, where Trump is expected to attend along with other dignitaries. President Joe Biden, who will be in his final weeks in office, is expected to deliver the eulogy at the service. After the service in Washington, Carter's remains will be flown down to Georgia for private funeral and burial. The United States Treasury on Tuesday imposed new sanctions on Iranian and Russian entities accused of attempting to influence the US 2024 presidential election. The entities are accused of using artificial intelligence to spread false information in an attempt to influence the US elections. The US Treasury, in an official statement, announced that it was imposing sanctions on both a subsidiary of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and an affiliate of Russia's military intelligence agency over their efforts to stoke socio-political tensions and influence the US electorate during the 2024 election. The Treasury also alleged that the Russian entity used AI tools to quickly create disinformation that would be distributed across a massive network of fake news websites and produced baseless accusations about a 2024 vice presidential candidate. Syria's newly appointed Foreign Minister Assad Hassan al-Shaban said on Tuesday that he received a phone call from his Egyptian counterpart Badr Abdelati. Both the leaders discussed the importance of Damascus and Cairo in bringing peace to the region. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry said in a statement that Abdelati stressed his country's support for the Syrian people and its legitimate aspirations. He calling on all parties to preserve Syria's national institutions, its unity and sovereignty. Egypt's top diplomat also emphasized the importance that the political process adopts an inclusive approach for all Syrian national parties, reflecting the societal, religious, sectarian and ethnic diversity within Syria. Both ministers agreed to stay in contact. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. We'll get you the visuals of first dawn of 2025 across India. And in sports, Olympic champion Beatrice Chebet smashes a woman 5,000 meter world record.
The year 2024 was marked by some historic elections across the continents, coupled with global unrest. Beat historic third-term win for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi with unprecedented mandate, US President-elect Donald Trump making a spectacular comeback. Curtains down for the year 2024. What an year it was.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Reaffirming commitment to addressing the region's needs together, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, along with his Australian, Japanese and US counterparts, issued a joint statement on Tuesday commemorating the 20th anniversary of Quad cooperation. The joint statement mentioned Quad nations contributing over 40,000 emergency responders worked together to provide critical relief. They emphasized that their commitment to humanitarian assistance remains strong, continuing efforts to address natural disasters and humanitarian crises. On this occasion, they reaffirmed the grouping's steadfast commitment to work towards a free, open and peaceful Indo-Pacific. As four partners, they also reaffirmed their unwavering support for ASEAN's centrality and unity, as well as mainstreaming and implementation of the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific. They said in the statement that the group respects Pacific-led regional architecture, foremost the Pacific Islands Forum, and is steadfast in support for the Indian Ocean Rim Association, the region's premier organization. While Quad has many initiatives that are creating impressions, here are some major achievements of the grouping showcasing the four democracies' commitment for holistic peace and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific region. Here's a brief wrap of the major initiatives by the Quad in its past 2 decades.
The Quad has enhanced cooperation in disaster response and relief efforts, including search and rescue operations and humanitarian assistance. The Quad has strengthened cooperation in counter-terrorism efforts, including sharing intelligence and best practices to combat terrorism. The Quad has established a cybersecurity working group to enhance cooperation in cybersecurity, including the development of shared cyber standards and guidelines. The Quad has initiated cooperation in space exploration and development, including the sharing of satellite data and cooperation in space-related research and development. The Quad has launched initiatives to promote infrastructure development in the Indo-Pacific. The Quad has enhanced cooperation in energy security. It has initiated cooperation in education and research, including the development of joint research programs and the promotion of student exchanges. The Quad Fellowship is an initiative of the governments of Australia, India, Japan, and the United States, announced by the Quad partners on September 24, 2021. It is the first of its kind scholarship program, and it is designed to build ties among the next generation of scientists and technologists.
In the new year, Indian government has offered an innovative gift to its citizens who are engaged in teaching, studying or research. This is an unique program, One Nation, One Subscription, aimed at providing access to thousands of research articles and journals on a single platform to those in higher educational institutes beginning today. It's a new and unique scheme with no parallels existing in the country till now. Here's a report by Nishant Saurabh on what the One Nation, One Subscription scheme includes.
In a historic decision, the central government has approved the One Nation, One Subscription scheme, which seeks to make academic research accessible to everyone. With a budget of 6,000 crore rupees, the scheme will be implemented over 3 years from 2025 to 2027. Starting January 1st, the first phase will make more than 13,000 journals available to over 6,300 government academic and research and development institutions. The scheme will provide over 1.8 crore students, teachers and researchers free access to thousands of journals and high-quality research publications. Students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities will also benefit from this initiative. It is expected to promote interdisciplinary research in the country, benefiting scholars and research from various fields.
We are expanding this access to our state public universities and other universities who do not have any budget to subscribe to these journals. So it is available to all the readers, particularly state public universities who earlier did not have funds, or affiliated colleges who did not have funds to subscribe to this.
The One Nation, One Subscription scheme involves 30 leading international journals publishers covering areas such as science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine, management, social sciences, and humanities. Beneficiaries will have access to complete collection of journals published by each participating publisher. This initiative expands upon the efforts made over the past decade to provide quality higher education to India's youth. It will complement the government's National Research Foundation initiative, which aims to foster a culture of research and innovation across government universities, colleges, and research institutions. By enhancing the ease of doing research for students, teachers, and researchers at government institutions, the scheme aspires to establish India as a global research ecosystem. One Nation, One Subscription scheme. Objective to make academic research accessible to all, budget of 6,000 crore rupees. Implementation over 3 years. Launch of first phase on January 1st, 2025. over 13,000 journals for 6,300 plus government academic and R&D institutions. Beneficiaries include 1.8 crore plus students, teachers and researchers, free access to thousands of journals and high-quality research publications, benefits extended to students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, focus on promoting interdisciplinary research, benefiting scholars and researchers across fields. 30 leading international journal publishers participating. Subjects include science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine, management, social sciences, and humanities. Full access to the entire collection of journals by participating publishers will be ensured. Nishant Saurabh's report for GT India.
New Year celebrations in India are a colourful blend of local traditions, cultural practices and modern-day festivities, making the occasion a vibrant and diverse celebration across the country. Let us take a look at how the country marked this special occasion in different regions.
India welcomed the year 2025 with celebrations across the country as people in various cities marked the occasion with joy and enthusiasm. Large crowds of devotees gathered at temples and ghats, marked by the blowing of conch shells and clanging of puja bells, to welcome 2025 with great fervour and joy. In Puri, devotees flocked to the Sri Jagannath temple and Puri beach to usher in the new year with hope and enthusiasm. A massive turnout was also witnessed at Sri Venkateshwara Swami temple in southern state of Andhra Pradesh, where devotees gathered to offer prayers and mark the beginning of the new year. Meanwhile, a large number of devotees also attended the Bhasma Aarti of Sri Mahakaleshwar Jyotirling temple in central state of Madhya Pradesh. On the other hand, various parties, cultural events, live music performances and themed decorations were also organized across the nation to welcome the new year. In Mumbai, beaches like Juhu, Chowpatty and Versova were packed with revelers. People also gathered at Marine Drive to watch the fireworks. In Himachal Pradesh's Manali, a popular tourist destination, crowds danced and cheered in the streets. Whereas huge crowds also gathered in West Bengal and Tamil Nadu to welcome the new year 2025 with dance and music. Bureau Report, DD India.
As the world steps into 2025, India's President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings and wishes to countrymen for a prosperous year ahead. President Murmu extended her heartfelt greetings for the new year and wished for 2025 with joy, harmony and prosperity for all. President Murmu, in her message on social media platform, also called for creating a brighter, more inclusive and sustainable future for India as well as the world. Taking to X, PM Modi emphasizes the importance of new opportunities, personal growth and collective well-being as the guiding principles for the year. As the first sunrise of 2025 breaks over the horizon, it brings with it a sense of hope and renewal. As the dawn of 2025 broke, the sun rose over India. The country awakened to a new year full of hope and promise. The first sunrise of 2025 is also a reminder of the beauty and wonder of the natural world. The vibrant colors of the sky, the gentle warmth of the sun's rays, and the sweet songs of the birds all conspire to fill our hearts with joy and gratitude. Let us embrace the possibilities of the new year and let us step into the dawn of 2025 with courage, resilience and determination. Mahakumbh Mela 2025 set to take place in the holy city of Prayagraj from January 13 to February 26th is poised to reaffirm its status as the world's largest congregation of faith and spirituality. Different departments of the Uttar Pradesh government are racing against time to finish the preparations. For the past few months, an army of workers has been diligently channeling the rivers, widening roads and levelling the ghats to transform the city in anticipation of one of the largest religious events in the world. The railways will run 3,000 special trains during the Mahakumbh 2025, out of which 560 trains will operate on ring rail. Additionally, the government has introduced an AI-powered chatbot, Kumbh Sahayak, to assist pilgrims with navigation, cultural information and travel updates. The 48-day festival will draw millions of devotees, saints and spiritual seekers to Triveni Sangam, the sacred confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna and mythical Saraswati rivers, where they will partake in rituals and seek spiritual liberation. And time now for sports. Double Olympic champion long distance runner Beatrice Chebet crowned a golden year as she smashed the women's 5,000 meter world record at the Cursa dels Nasos road race in Barcelona. The 24-year-old Keenan finished the race in 13 minutes and 54 seconds to become the first woman to break the 14-minute barrier in the event. Chebet, who won 5,000 meter and 10,000 meter gold at the Paris Olympics earlier this year, beat her previous mark set a year ago to the day in the same race by 19 seconds. While the New Year celebrations are already at its peak in many countries, including India, Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Fiji, Australia, Japan and South Korea, the celebrations have also begun in UK. London rang in New Year with spectacular fireworks display on Wednesday. The River Thames and city skyline provided a stunning backdrop for the dazzling spectacle as the iconic Big Ben struck midnight. Meanwhile, Brazil entered into 2025 at 8 a.m. as per Indian Standard Time. Millions of revelers gathered on Rio de Janeiro's famed Copacabana beach for the celebrations. People were entertained throughout by performances from musicians such as Caetano Veloso, Maria Bethania and others. Concerts were also held at other venues in Rio de Janeiro with a total of 13 stages spread across the city. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live and wishing all our viewers a very happy new year.